You're watching Channel M today. It's 5 o'clock. First tonight.
The environment
How
and green issues.
conservative is it to match public spending that New Labour have spent?
Tony Blair, leaving South Trafford College and possibly...
No comment. What would Mrs Thatcher say?
Well, you're saying, well, yes, you're winding me up.
But the Palestinians feel that Israel could close the gaps at any time, and in fact the deficit seems even worse than before. And the vast majority of the money isn't going to the charity.
Which magazines?
But her body wasn't discovered until the 7th of January. I'm free, you know.
Well, don't tell the wife.
Well, I won't if you won't. Well, the press conference is about to start, but we've been told we're not allowed to go in, and we're not sure why. We think it's because of our affiliation with the Manchester Evening News. We're going to check. Can you just tell us why we're not allowed in?
Yeah, because you've been told you can't come in. So
why, though? Mr Goodrick, will anyone be willing to come and give us an explanation of why we're not allowed to come in?
probably because you've printed systematic lies for the last week.
We're a television station. Sorry, sir, you're not commenting? No women playing snooker, why is that? No comment. What would Mrs Thatcher say? He instantly admitted that the money was going straight into his back pocket.
What you're saying, well, yes, you're winding me up.
Sorry?
Just take that out of my face, yeah, it's winding me up.
And there goes his sidekick, who'd also been selling the magazines all day, but seemed to have forgotten. How do you enjoy selling those magazines for £3 when the vast majority of the money isn't going to the charity?
Which magazines?
The magazines you've been selling for £3.
No, I've been shopping.
She's a lady, she took your party to victory. She did well for the Tories, wouldn't you let her play snooker? Are there any women on the committee? You're watching Russia Today, 24-hour news live from Moscow. Here are top stories this hour. For years we've prayed for a white Christmas, and then one comes along and you lot use it as an excuse to stay at home. Well, some of us have made it in. We are the image of professionalism. Well, almost. While we were at Michaela's home, she disappeared to the toilet, and when she returned, she appeared agitated and difficult to talk to.
Excuse me. Oh, Jesus, sorry.
It's very difficult at the moment because Michaela's obviously very distressed and doesn't really want to talk to us. We suspect maybe that she's taken some of the drug this morning. Right, Tiger is the same as Café Rouge. Your standard glass of wine is 175ml, your large is 250. But get this, Hard Rock Cafe, your standard is 250ml, and if you ask for anything smaller, you have to pay for the large one anyway. Tell you what, I'm starting to feel a bit tipsy now though. So Dennis, you've won £300 of holiday vouchers and £200 spending money. What are you going to do with it?
Probably weekend at Senate Park, something like that.
All right, well, I'm free, you know.
Oh, don't tell the wife.
Well, I won't if you won't.
The problem is that we're dealing with a war here, and it's very difficult to measure it.
When you build a wall like this, though, that separates one religion, one type of person from another, it's not really conducive to mixing, is it, for people to get along side by side? Wasif was just explaining that the Palestinians feel that Israel could close the gaps at any time and that they literally feel like prisoners here. There's even been a door, a gate to freedom, graffitied on. The Amari refugee camp near Ramallah is home to almost 9,000 people, families who sought safety following the war in 1948 and whose tents were made concrete in the 1950s. Today, 1,200 families live on emergency food rations. We were taken to the home of a couple who say they clearly remember having their farm taken from them by Israeli forces in their village near Ascalon in 1948.
She said that there's a big difference between here and their homes.
A very good morning to you, Greater Manchester. It's 8 o'clock and Shadow Foreign Secretary William Hague has very kindly promised to stay and answer a few more of your questions. But did he really believe that his whole party would stand behind him? Andy Burnham has said that there's a deep philosophical difference between the Conservative Party and the Labour Party, and that the Prime Minister can sincerely say that all members of his party believe in the NHS. Can you say the same?
Yes, our party, my party, has helped to build the National Health Service.
Right up there among our priorities is the environment and green issues.
How conservative is it to match public spending that New Labour have spent? They've whacked up public spending, and you've said you're not going to cut it. That's not traditional Tory values, is it? Which of them are you most proud of, and where do you think perhaps the government's fallen short?
I think the amazing thing about Manchester is that it is undeniably, I mean, you say this and no one disputes it now, as one of the great European cities.
Tony Blair leaving South Trafford College and possibly Greater Manchester for the last time as Prime Minister.
I'm no Einstein, but these scales don't exactly seem to be balancing out. In fact, the deficit seems even worse than before. But analysts say that's not what today's about. They say this budget is all about damage limitation, holding on to our hats and hoping that the investments work in the long term. So good luck, Mr. Darling. I'd rather you than me.